Let's see here. Okay, great. Looks like we're recording. Hi, everybody. It's Vince again here with Green Joe Coffee, greenjoecoffeetruck.com. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about December. We had a pretty good month in December. We grossed over 1,100, over 11,000. And so that's a good month for us. It's only been a few months that we've taken more than $10,000 home. I didn't get to take all that home, but my profit percentage on that was significantly higher than on some of my other months, and so I want to kind of cover a little bit about that on this video. So we had mainly three big gigs that really kind of pulled it for us. Well, probably four. We probably had four big gigs that made a lot of money for us. The first one was a church that they don't have their own commercial kitchen, and so they wanted me to make hot chocolate for them. And originally they had called me up last year and they said, "Hey, are you able to do like, I think it was like 1,500 cups of hot chocolate?" And I said, "Well, let me call you right back." So then I went onto eBay and I found out how much those hot beverage dispensers are. I call them Cambros, but yeah, the hot beverage, they usually like 5-gallon or 10-gallon dispensers. Well, I found out how much those are. I was able to get a hold of the guy that distributes those, and I said, "Listen, you cut me a deal for buying 20 of these things." And so we worked out a deal where he can ship them to me ground shipping on a crate, reduce the shipping cost, and then um, uh, cut me a deal for buying a bunch of them. So so then I called them back up, the church, and I said, "Okay, so I can do your hot chocolates. It's gonna cost you X amount." And what X amount was the amount of cost of those beverage dispensers doubled. So I just took the cost of the beverage dispensers and times it by 2. And I told the church, "You'll need to pay half up front and then half afterwards." And so the half up front paid for the inventory, and then the half after went to my pocket. And so that happened last year. Well, this year they gave me a call again, and they said, "Well, listen, can you do 2,000 hot chocolates?" And I said, "Yes." Well, first I said, "Let me call you back." And I went and I found my supplies, and I called them back, and I said, "Yeah, I can do 2,000 hot chocolates." And then they said, "Well, can you do 2,000 hot chocolates a day for 3 days in a row?" And I said, "Yes, I can do that." And they said, "Well, how much will it cost?" And I said, "Let me call you back." And this time what I did is I called all the coffee shops in town, finding out how much they would charge to dispense 2,000 hot chocolates. And no one could do it. There wasn't a single other piece of competition out there that was able to meet that demand. Even the big guys, even like Starbucks, and so I had cornered the market there, and so I called them back and I arranged. I basically arranged for a dollar a cup, and so they said, "Okay, we'll take it." And so we did $1 a cup for 2,000 hot chocolates a day, 3 days in a row. But on the last day, both the second day and the third day, they ended up ordering, I think it was 23 and then 2,500 hot chocolates. At the end, it came out to about 7,000 hot chocolates that we delivered in those 3 days. And at $1 a piece, that bumped up our profits pretty high. And the only mistake I look back is I wish that I would have called some of the event planners in town, like the wedding planners, and asked if they rented the hot beverage dispensers, because I only use those once a year. So, why pay for them if you only use them once a year? I use them occasionally, but I don't use all. I think I have like 25 of them now. I don't use all 25, only on that particular event. So it would have been nice to rent those as opposed to buying them. But you live and learn. So that was a big event. And then so the second thing I did was a holiday market, and they said that they were going to have 18,000 people at this market over 3 days. So what we did for this one is we did hot chocolate and coffee, and I used I have these large, they're pots that they're actually for like broiling crawdads. They're crawdad like craw boils that you put on. They're these very large pots, and you put them on top of propane stove, like a camp stove, and and you can heat hot water on these things. Well, you can heat 16 gallons at a time per pot. I got two of them, so that's 32 gallons that I can heat at a time. It takes me 90 minutes if there's not a lot of wind to get two pots boiling. And so what I did is that one of those pots was dedicated just to hot chocolate. So we would make 16 gallons of hot chocolate, and I served my hot chocolate out of a 12-ounce cup. I served it for $3. I'd like to say that cup cost me, I'd like to say that cup cost me maybe 24 cents. Cup, chocolate, all of it. So the margin on that was pretty good. And then the coffee, what I did is I made a bunch of cold brew actually. So I would cold brew, uh, like I would make 5 pounds in a 5-gallon bucket, and I have two buckets, so I would make 10 pounds of coffee at the same time. And I'd like to say, I don't have the exact numbers, I should have saved it for you guys. I'd like to say that gave me 12 quarts of concentrate on each bucket, so maybe 24 quarts total. And when I reconstituted that with water, it came out to like 12 gallons, I'd like to say, somewhere around there, 12 gallons. Um, and so those 12 gallons, I put those on one of those vats and heated that up at the same time. So during the 90 minutes that the hot chocolate was boiling, the cold brew was heating up to temperature. And what that allowed me to do is it allowed me to bypass the brewing. The brewing I was brewing on cold during the cold brew process, but I wasn't waiting for my like my brewers. I have four brewers, but even at four brewers, I got to bring a big generator, and it just becomes a big headache. You're having to constantly, like, throughout your day, brew more coffee, brew more coffee. With the cold brew brewing, I would just brew, these 12 gallons at a time. I had to do it overnight, but I would brew 12 gallons at a time, and then just heat them up and serve it. And what I like about the cold brew versus the hot coffee that you brew off of like a normal commercial coffee brewer is that the cold brew, if I didn't use it that day, would transfer over to the next day. So it holds its flavor better than traditionally brewed coffee. And so cold brew typically, cold brew will last like 4 or 5 days in terms of like its flavor profile. And I really like the flavor. In fact, I these days that's what I drink more than what we do is we cold brew our coffee and then we just heat it up. If I'm on the truck, I'll heat it up with a steamer. If I'm just at the house or something, I'll just throw it in the microwave. But yeah, that's what we're doing now. I love it. It's been my favorite. So that's how we brewed that. And I'd like to say those we were out there for 3 days, really two, because it was like Friday night and then Saturday and Sunday. So really 2 days, and those 2 days I think we did just over like $2,400. My payroll was pretty high on that one, but what we did is we bought like I think I got 2,000 sample cups, just these little half ouncers, little sample cups, and we sampled hot chocolate, and I would put like a little marshmallow in it, and we handed so many of those out. I mean, and that fed the coffee and the chocolate business. We did pretty good off of those two. And then I got a call from Netflix, and they said, "Hey, we're interested in booking you to come out to our movie shoot, and we'd like you to set up your coffee there. And typically I charge $2.99 an hour, and and just serve the crew. The crew is usually like 150, 200 people, and usually, if it's 200 people, if it's 100 to 150, 2 hours. 200 people, I'll say 3 hours. So at $2.99 an hour, I think they had a crew of maybe 200. So it's okay, 3 hours, so it's going to be like $1,000, and I usually pay my employees pretty good for those. So I don't make the biggest profit margin off of those because I pay pretty good for it. Because a lot of times we're way out in the middle of nowhere or deep into the middle of the night. Well, anyhow, so they gave me a call and they said, well, we're interested in booking you for 9 hours. And they said, well, how much is that going to be? Well, by then I had just finished with this, $7 grand gig, and I just finished with, this holiday market gig. So I'm tired. Number one, I'm spent, because I've been working my tail off, and the money was good, so I didn't really need the money. And so I said, well, 9 hours, it's going to be $2.99 an hour, and so they. I cut them a little deal, but to be honest, it wasn't much. I mean, I think it ended up being, somewhere close to $2 grand or something like that. For they cut down on their hours, and we ended up going back and forth. But so and then there was a couple other movie sets that month. I think they were all shutting down, and so they were just trying to blow their budget, and so we ended up grabbing some of those. So altogether, I mean, it was a phenomenal month. We really worked our ass off and really worked my tail off. My employee that worked with me, her name's Desiree. She's just, I mean, a go-getter. She really hustled her ass off too, and so it wasn't anything that I did by myself. I have another employee, Ashley. She really helped out with the hot chocolates and stuff. So it was a good month. Financially, we made good revenue. We worked hard. We worked really hard. But yeah, we're able to do pretty good and pack some money away from it and stuff. So that's good. Good Christmas. Anyhow, I thought I would share this with you guys. Maybe you can take some of these philosophies and use it and apply it to your stuff. Let's see. Let's do a little shout out stuff. So my name's Vince. I own Green Joe Coffee Truck. So we have I stopped doing the memberships. We switched. I was doing memberships for a while on my website. Originally I sold an ebook, and that did really well. And I was talking to this online guru, and he said, oh, you should really consider moving to a website base. And his theory was that there are some people that can't afford. I sell the book for $50, and there are some people that can't afford the $50, and they would be willing to buy it, to lease the information, so to speak, for 10 or $20, that type of thing, by doing the membership for a month or 2 months. But it wasn't a good plan for me. It's fine when you got a few members, but once you start getting up to a lot of members, it becomes this big customer service thing where you're dealing with 200 members, and you open up your email and there's 20 emails in there, and it's just, you can't get back to everyone. So I ended up stopping the membership, and it's my fault. It was just too much work for me. It's not what I wanted out of a passive income stream. I love being able to share information. I love being able to help people out, but at the same time, I don't want to have I don't want to be a prisoner of my email inbox. You know what I mean? It's just not what I got into this for. So I cut the memberships. We're not doing it anymore. We went back to the ebook, and we started doing phone consultations, and that's been great. So that's on my website, greenjoecoffeetruck.com, and /ebook, and you can buy the ebook for $50. It's there's so much information. I mean, if you're researching coffee trucking, just buy it. It's like, it'll save you so much money and so much headache. And if you're researching and you're not sure if you're going to get into this business, it's a really good book to buy, because then you can really get an idea on what your day in, day out efforts are going to be like, what it's going to take to get this thing up and running. If you're the right personality for this type of gig, so that's important. It's been good. I mean, like, being your own boss is pretty sweet. Like, there are times where it's been hard, money hasn't been there, or I've had to work long hours, or at 3 a.m. in the morning when I'm off on some movie set, making some movie star his caramel macchiato. Sometimes I'll kind of question, like, what the hell am I doing here? But months like December, where you get in there and you get it, and you get you make a good amount of income in a short amount of time. Those kind of make it worth it. It's nice to be, that we just had another baby, it's my second daughter, and we had her in January. I haven't worked a month. I haven't worked a day. Not in January. It's been, what are we on? The 21st, and I haven't worked a single day in January. I've been at home with my family the entire time, and that's because we made enough money in December, and also because of the ebook, because of you guys, the community. You guys take care of me. So I think having those financial freedoms is really nice. I don't regret that at all. I mean, there are hard times, but just everything's like that. Anything that's worth doing is going to have its own set of hard times and its own challenges, and that's part of the fun. It's part of the adventure, is kind of getting in there and seeing how you're going to set your sails. You go, okay, the wind's coming from this direction. Well, how are we going to face this challenge? And so, anyways, I'm kind of jabbering on now. So listen, yeah. So if you're interested in coffee trucking, there I have a blog on my website, and that's good. That's a good start. I also have my YouTube page, which you're probably on now, I assume, or on my blog now, and then of course we have the ebook. So my name is Vince, and the company's Green Joe Coffee Truck. Do me a favor and like and share and comment this video, so it gets some little virality going to it, and that way other people out there can see it, and slowly but surely we all start stealing a little bit of business from Starbucks. All right, guys, you take care.